Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fantasy Factory. I have very exciting stuff for you this week. Last week, we went over some mock drafts, and that is because this past weekend, for all of you, I know you had this as well, your drafts have taken place, and it would be only fair if I were to scrutinize myself with how my drafts have been. So, I had 3 drafts this past weekend. 2 of them were snake, and one of them was auction, my primary league. And so I wanted to display and rank for you my 3 drafts, see what you guys think as well. Please give your comments on my draft because I may need to make some roster fixes. I don't know. So we'll see about that. But we're going to start off here with my auction draft here. So one thing I really want to make sure to emphasize here, this was not snake. This was an auction-based draft in a 12-team league with rosters of 15 players. So the way that the roster construction works is you have QB, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, a flex spot, a super flex spot, which means you can play a second quarterback, and then 5 bench spots. So to start off, Derek Carr for quarterback. I also have Carson Wentz and Trevor Lawrence for quarterback. Derek Carr, I've been pretty clear on how successful I think he's going to be. I think that's a fantastic spot. But having Wentz actually was surprisingly very low on the turnovers last year. So he'll give me a consistent, 14 to 16 points per game is my expectation for him. Trevor Lawrence is the guy who I'm really looking forward to hopefully really help out my roster. Now, running back, I don't love my running back position. I admit it. James Conner is an RB1, isn't a great look. Cam Akers is my other running back. And then on top of that, I also have Cordero Patterson and Tyler Algier kind of as a 1-2 there. I have the sneaking suspicion Algier may take the running back spot away from Patterson by the end of the year, but that's why I have him. Breece Hall. And Breece Hall is actually projected on NFL.com. That's what this draft is on. On NFL.com, he's projected super low. And for whatever reason, they don't think he'll get a lot of touches first week. By the end of the season, he's definitely going to take the boatloads of carries there. Breece Hall was the first running back taken off the board for the NFL draft this past year. So I'm thinking Breece Hall is going to be somebody who I later on down the line, hopefully he slots in here where I'm not having to play Cam Akers that much. James Conner, on the other hand, when he was healthy, caveat, when he was healthy and Chase Edmonds was out, James Conner was doing awesome. He was getting 20 plus points. He had 37 points against the San Francisco 49ers last year. And so I actually don't think he's that bad. Now, do I love him as an RB1? Not necessarily. I'll be honest. I expect this team to be pretty mid, but the thing that's the strength for this team is absolutely the receiver position. So not only is it that I had Keenan Allen, Steady Freddy was getting at least 10 points per game last season on my championship team that I had. Marquise Hollywood Brown, who was going to be getting the lion's share of targets for the Arizona Cardinals, and a Lion himself, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that I've been very high on as well. High target guy. This is a half-point PPR league, so those two guys have a ton of value because of that. I will say, if it was not PPR, I wouldn't be in as good of a spot. But having Amon-Ra is really sweet. Marquise Hollywood Brown, very nice. And then you move down here, and I have Terry McLaurin, Sky Moore, and I have D-Hop. After week 6, throw him into the mix there to where you're going to have a receiving core with Keenan Allen, D-Hop, maybe Hollywood Brown and keep him in there, or you have Amon-Ra St. Brown or Terry McLaurin. That's a really solid 4 to 5 deep wide receiver pool. And that's going to be the success of my team. I have Dirty Birds and Dirt as my name. I'll be honest, I'll be surprised if I am anywhere below about 500 or above 500. And I expect this team to be pretty mid. Overall, for roster construction purposes, with the way that this league is situated, I'm guessing that I'm going to be a very mid-tier guy. I wouldn't expect more than that. So with that in mind, I might give this a C+. And it's my primary league, so it kind of sucks. I'm going to have to really be aggressive on the waiver wire for this roster. So for my auction draft, my primary league, that is my team here. Again, kind of running through it. I have Logan Thomas as a tight end. We'll see if he's healthy. If he's healthy, he's great. If he's not, I gotta go on the waiver wire. So again, C plus here for this team. Tell me what you think about this roster construction here. I think I got solid bets. That's gonna be something that's gonna help me out as well. So again, C plus for them. Moving right along, we have two different drafts here. So the DSN League, which is everybody on DSN for the media team. We have a league here. It's going to be 12 teams, again, with a super flex. Let's see. We have, same exact construction. This team, I think, is actually pretty good. And you're going to see why here. So I drafted first overall. So anybody who saw my mock, you saw it. My 1-2, Jonathan Taylor and James Conner, bang, bang. So right here, I got for my running back core, I have Jonathan Taylor, I have James Conner, I have Josh Jacobs, and I have Naeem Hines. I spelled myself. A really limited roster there. I'm only going very shallow. Let's be real. If I have an injury to Jonathan Taylor, my season's screwed anyway. If he's healthy, I'm going to be in a really good spot because this dude is going to be getting 20 plus almost every week. There's a reason he went number 1 overall. There's a reason in auctions he was going for 60 plus. This dude is absolutely the vibe. My only concern is if he gets hurt and I have Hines to at least stifle the blow. There's no way I'm going to win if Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, but at the very least, I may still be able to sneak into the playoffs there. Receiver wise, very PPR heavy again. So I have CD Lamb, very heavy targets that I talked about in my top 10 wide receivers for fantasy. I put him at number 4 overall because I do think he'll get a real ton of targets. Marquise Hollywood Brown for the same reasons I've already discussed on my previous team. And then I have Drake London, Sky Moore again. Drake London, hopefully a wide receiver 1 in Atlanta. Sky Moore is somebody I'm just taking a flyer on. Maybe he pops off because there's no real solid number 1 in Kansas City, and he very much feels like that sort of Tyreek Hill vibe against speedster out of Western Michigan. So hopefully he does pretty good. Tight end wise, Zach Ertz. Quarterbacks, I have Trevor Lawrence again. Derek Carr again. I did have the 1-2 of Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ritter. The only reason I have Ritter is because I don't think Mariota is going to keep the job. I'll be honest, I'm probably going to drop one of these two. These aren't great backup quarterbacks, but I think in our pool for who we have left, Jacoby Brissett, Joe Flacco. Yeah, that's horrible. So I don't really have much of a choice. It's going to be Derek Carr and Trevor Lawrence most of the way. For this team, I will also put I'm going to put it at B- because of the Jonathan Taylor fact. That is this team. Make no mistake about it. If Jonathan Taylor is healthy, I'm making the playoffs almost no question. If he gets hurt, probably not making the playoffs. So again, half point PPR 12 team. Rosters are really thin as it is. If Jonathan Taylor's hurt, I'm screwed. But for now, doing pretty good. A team that I'm feeling real solid about, and this is just a team standard 10 team, and I was the 8th place in the snake draft, if memory serves. 8th place. So right here, I have Russell Wilson as quarterback. This is just standard stuff of the defense. Joe Mixon, who I love as a running back. I think he's going to be awesome. And in my power tier rankings, I think I am 4th overall for running back rankings. Josh Jacobs again, Devontae Adams, who I believe I had 3rd in my top 10 for fantasy wide receivers. I'm so hyped that I got Devontae Adams here. I got T. Higgins as well, Kyle Pitts, J.K. Dobbins as a flyer. I pray that Baltimore is going to actually give him carries to take the load off of Lamar. Indianapolis defense, and then I got James Robinson, Rashad White, D-Hop to throw in there again, Drake London, Dubes, who I believe has been the kind of favorite for Aaron Rodgers this year, so hopefully he does some pretty good stuff. I have Sky Moore across all 3 leagues, and then Zach Ertz as well. So this team, I think it's a substantially more balanced. Russell Wilson, if he has the MVP type here, I'm expecting big ups there. Joe Mixon, I think, is going to be a top 3 fantasy, top 3, top 4, and let's go top 5, actually. Top 5 fantasy player overall, so I'm good there. Devontae Adams, I think, like I said, top 3 for receivers. Kyle Pitts is a top 3 tight end. And then if any of these guys pop at all, so D-Hop being able to throw him into the mix and match that, put him into the flex spot here. But if for whatever reason Dobbins does awesome, I mean, then you have boom, boom, RB1 guarantee and an RB2 where I can kind of stream Jacobs and Dobbins. So with this team, I'm putting them at a solid B. Draft wise, there's some hits there, there's some risk, which is part of the point. Like DeAndre Hopkins, I have in 2 of my leagues. I'm fully expecting to have a really slow start. However, towards the back end of the year, I fully expect my teams to be popping off, not only with it being aggressive on the waiver wire, but also having rookies that get into their own, like Drake London and Sky Moore across all 3 teams. Because I'll tell you one thing, if Sky Moore, for whatever reason, becomes the hot target for Patrick Mahomes, we have seen rookie wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown last year, who was phenomenal, especially in PPR situations. In the standard league, and not as much, but I can easily see Sky Moore jump up into a top 25 receiver if he really gets the favor of Mahomes. So again, just to kind of recap here, got my primary auction league. You have it there. I give it a C plus. My DSN base league, I'm gonna put at a B minus. Again, it's really all dependent on Jonathan Taylor. And then for my Salt and Carnage, which is another league, a 10-team standard, I have it at a B. That's who I believe is my best roster. So if you are ranking these for yourself in the comments, would love to hear what you have to say about all 3. Please, please, please tell me which one's good and which one's not. I need your feedback because that's how I'm going to be able to improve this roster. That is going to be the key. And so thank you everybody again for the Fantasy Factory. That was my post-draft videos there. We're going to start actually having some streaming content. Streaming is in for actual like streaming of players. And we're going to be doing a lot with waiver wire and trades potentially. So any feedback that you have, any of the questions that you put on the videos of any kind, of any fantasy questions, I will address in my subsequent videos, and I'll try to get some user-based feedback as well, maybe go live, get some reactions to that as well. So thank you very much. Hopefully I have a great season. Hopefully everybody else in my leagues does not, but for you, I hope that you go all the way to your title and you don't get last place and have to eat in like a Denny's for 24 hours. So, it's Dylan Bair for the Fantasy Factory. Thank you as always. Have a great day, folks.